Today we are back out here at the OSU Student Farm and we're finishing up the cool season harvest. And joining me is Matt Beartrack, one of the co-managers of the OSU Student Farm. This is a fun plant you've grown out here, Brussels sprouts, right?
Brussels sprouts, yep.
So tell me a little bit about this crop and how it does here in Oklahoma.
Well, not a lot of people know that Brussels sprouts do well in Oklahoma. It's kind of a tough crop. It's really a longer season than most of your brassicas because it is part of the cabbage family.
Yeah, it's actually related to cabbage, broccoli, all of those.
Broccoli, everything, all that.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of those are about 70 days, 70, 80 days. And not only is it longer season, it takes, higher nitrogen.
Okay.
And there's a little more work to it. There's a little bit of pruning you got to do throughout the season. And, with Oklahoma's weather, it's kind of unpredictable weather. Really, it's a good, end of winter, into the first of summer, and hopefully, the weather cooperates enough to where you can get a good harvest out of it.
So we've had a nice wet, early start to the summer, I would say. So basically, when did you plant these?
We planted these in the 1st of February.
Okay.
And, we try to push them with urea throughout the season, kind of push them hard because they can take up to, anywhere from 175 to, almost 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre.
Because you're really after the vegetation on this.
And it's mostly green vegetation, so
right.
that's what they really focus on.
Okay.
Is nitrogen.
Okay.
And we did have them covered. When we first put them out, we waited a few weeks, and then we went ahead and covered them to keep them protected,
right.
Keep pushing them along, so they don't have any of those little peaks and valleys where they go slow and then they go fast. So
gotcha.
So just keep it uniform.
Okay, so we've got a little bit of a late start one here. Can you tell us a little bit, walk us through the season of some of the maintenance that might need to be done on this one?
So this is kind of how they look whenever you first plant them and they get to growing. So we'll generally wait till they get about this tall, about 18 to 24 inches, and then what we'll do is come in and clip these tops off.
Okay.
So we'll totally remove that top, and then we'll come down and start pulling off anywhere from half to 2/3 of the leaves. And what that'll do, clipping that top off, will help promote these the Brussels sprouts actually grow.
So that's them right there.
That's
those
them
buds.
right there, the
Okay.
beginnings of them. So clipping that top and taking those leaves off will actually help promote these Brussels sprouts to grow a little more uniform and to get a little more size to them.
All right. And then next to you, we have one that's ready to harvest. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have one ready to harvest here, and we like to use either loppers or something, a little heavier duty because they are thick stem.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's basically your finished product.
So all of these little buds have continued to grow.
And they'll get tight throughout the season. Sometimes when you're checking them, you can feel that they'll be loose inside, kind of like a head of cabbage. And then when they get a little more mature, they'll be nice and tight like you'd find in the store.
Okay. So what does topping and pruning those leaves off kind of do for this plant?
It just helps to promote these to get sized up and to get a little more uniformity to them.
Okay.
Because if we don't top them, some of the ones at the bottom tend to stay big, and the ones towards the top, where all the hormones would be located, they stay a little smaller, kind of like that one.
Okay. And so basically anybody who's not familiar with Brussels sprouts, this is what we're after.
That's
right
what we're
here.
after, yep.
And so you guys are just harvesting these stems as is and taking them to our daily bread?
We just harvest the whole stem and figured it's a little easier to display them and transport them.
Okay, all right. And as far as just, what it's returning back to the ground, they have a sizable root back in the ground, right?
Yeah,
so...
they're basically like little trees. So they do put a lot of organic matter, and the leaves, we'll leave the leaves on the row, and we'll incorporate those back into.
All right. So this you've harvested once, it looks like.
Yeah, we had one big harvest on Friday, and here it is Monday, and we were just kind of letting the rest of them size back up and see if we can get one more little harvest.
So
out
they
of them.
should be done by mid-June, is where.
Yeah. Probably if not, we don't harvest the rest this week. Next week for sure they'll be out of there.
All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing this unique crop with us, Matt.
Yeah.
We hope you enjoyed this video as part of our Oklahoma Gardening YouTube channel. You can also find even more videos on the OK Gardening Classics YouTube channel. And join us on social media for great gardening tips, photos, and discussion.